Yes, I forgot to do a cold open on the last one. Sorry about that. Hello, Emmet Ryan here. How are we all today? Well, like I said to you in the previous video about Monaco, which if you haven't seen, check it out. I am going to be doing a lot of videos in the run-up to the EuroLeague Final Four in Abu Dhabi. Today, the focus is on Olympiacos, what they need to do if they're to finally get over the line. Because, of course, this is their fourth straight Final Four. They've had quite a lot of appearances since, of course, they last won it in London in 2013, which, by the way, was my first time ever at a Final Four. I know, I'm old. Okay, it's only 12 years ago, but I had brown hair then. Yeah, different times. But if you haven't already, please subscribe. It really helps the channel. Share it with your friends. You know yourself. Like, comment, ring the bell. All those things make a huge help. And now, of course, let's get to it. Yeah, I mean, this is just fundamental. They know who they are. Bartzaka's ball is quite a simple form of basketball to look at, but obviously it involves an awful lot of cohesion from the team. It's basically built around extreme unselfishness. Players being willing to defer. I've written a column previously about how Kostas Papanikolaou has been the best example of this, in that he will play like 20 minutes in a game, but might only have a handful of relevant touches in terms of sort of getting on the stat sheet, and he is fine with that. Now, don't get me wrong, there are days where K-Pap goes, still goes wild, but like when you're bona fide leader can do that, it sets such a tone for everybody else. And you see it. You see, okay, well, Vezenkov doesn't need that many touches. That's his game, so that's great. But McKissick, Walk Up, Williams Goss, everybody. Like the whole focus is on unselfishness, and it's not just old school boring U.S. college unselfishness where everybody's sharing it around until you get to the core shooter. It's designed to create multiple lanes of attack, which is brilliant. Like, there is no need to be relying on one player necessarily to go for 20. And if you do need one player to go for 20, it isn't always going to be the same guy. And that's one of the beauties of it. They can get surges in different places with the different talents they have. Like, they know Evan Fournier can go off. Evan Fournier willing to share that ball. Like, everybody is willing to move it around, be unselfish. And that works in the defensive end as well. No one's thinking, like, Milutinov is not thinking, I got to get my 12 rebounds, I got to get my 3 blocks. Mustafa Fall isn't thinking that either. They're thinking, what do I need to do to make this play execute? Like, it's all about execution. And from an identity perspective, that is enormous. It really singles Oli out amongst elite teams, because we're kind of used to seeing that approach from teams who, shall we say, are less elite, or like, are borderline playoff sides. They might have the one person they lean on, but everybody else knows it's a do your job thing. You've got a whole lot of well-known players here, a whole lot of big egos in theory, who have tempered them without tempering their belief in themselves. And that's a hard balance to strike. Bartzakas has managed that with this hilariously deep roster. So now we got to talk about the thing. So this is, of course, their fourth Final Four in a row, and they haven't won it since London in 2013. And there's a lot of scar tissue there. Like, you think of the two finals they lost to Real Madrid, to Fenerbahce, and I mean before this current run, those two finals, like, they weren't expected to win those games. And the last three Final Fours they've been to, there was only one where they were actually expected to win it. Like, they did great in 22 to push Efes as tight as they did, really, in that semi-final, because Efes still had Team of Destiny vibes to them. And last year, like, they were playing minus Sasha. They hadn't brought in some of the players they brought in this time. And getting back to the Final Four again, good result for the season. But of course, that was a very disappointing performance against Real Madrid, even though Real were really heavily favoured. Nobody was saying, well, Oli, held their own. They didn't. Like, that was not a good performance in Berlin, simple as that. But the one that we really think about here, and if it was just in isolation, it'd be something, but it's combined with those two Final Fours. Either side of it is, of course, is Kaunas, Lithuania, where they were the team that looked Team of Destiny all season long in the campaign. That ferocious comeback against Monaco, to make it really to the championship game, and also ferocious comeback that led to a comprehensive win. Like, it wasn't as they came back and edged over the line. They came back and then cruised past Monaco to only get Sergio Llull in the final. So there's a whole lot of scar tissue. And some people go Jimmy White, which, if you know snooker, that's not a good thing. And some people go Goran Ivanisevic and find a way to build, and keep finding a way and eventually get over that line. And yeah, screams more of a Goran, but like sort of a Goran who's like supercharged in my respects. So when I'm looking at this, I kind of go, right, like these guys are built to win. Like my buddy Yara said, and our first preview show of the playoffs, Olympiacos decided this offseason they were going to win EuroLeague. Now there's obviously 17 teams that disagreed with them at the start, and there's 3 of those left, and 3 very, very, very good teams. But mentally, I think, and you've seen the way they've reacted to big victories this season, like they are treating this with the emotional weight required to be able to handle the battles ahead. And I think they're going to treat those previous losses not as like ghosts, like they were a Sheska side, but like sort of, until Sheska, of course, did it, but more like, we've seen this, we know the battle, we know what's required. And I think mentally that's enormous for them, that they can get over that hump, that we know there has to find that extra gear to win in the Final Four. Like when they get to Abu Dhabi, they know they got to take care of business against Monaco. They know that whoever they face, Pau or Fenerbahce, it's going to be a battle. If we get a Greek derby in the final, yeah, that's going to be a thing. Putting it mildly, and there may be an awful lot of discussion about that. And a couple of our friends in bigger websites may get hilarious record-breaking traffic. Congratulations, friends. But yeah, like we might even get good traffic. But it's like, no, stranger things have happened and us getting in traffic. I know. But anyway, but seriously, like they know that they've got to be able to not just build it mentally for this Monaco game, but be able to find another level again. They got to leave it all on the court against Monaco, and then 48 hours later have found a level beyond that, which is a huge ask. But if there's any team built for it, this is the Olympiacos team to do it. So that's why I think they have that, which brings us on to our final big point. This is not the Buffalo Bills. For those of you unaware, in the early 90s, the Buffalo Bills made it to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost all 4. Here's the big difference. Buffalo basically got further away from being relevant in each of those Super Bowls to the point of at the end, like the Cowboys just had them. And you go, right, there was the Scott Norwood, then there was the mental self-beating because they went into the break at the Super Bowl. They lost to Washington, far closer in the scoreboard than people realize, but had lost the game mentally by the halfway point. And then they had like those 2 follows, which were just a disaster. Olympiacos are kind of different in that, like, it was great to get there the first time. Okay, they should have won the second time, but they didn't. But again, it was a great to get there year last time. So they've had a couple of great to get there years. And now it's a case of, now we ready. And I think that's huge. Like, they have been building, and also they have been adjusting, because the unnoticed upside of the Vezenkov-less year is they had to adjust to life without him. And they managed to create a very comprehensive, this very unselfish form of basketball, was refined so much when they lost Sasha. And of course, he came back, added on a Fournier, and suddenly you've got this almost... You've got the best of the 23 run, and all the things you learned from the 24 run, mashing them together and adding an Evan Fournier on top. I mean, I'm liking the recipe a lot. It does mean there's a lot of pressure, though, because mentally, I think a lot of Reds fans are thinking there's been a now or never to this. I don't think that, because I think looking at the way both Greek clubs are set up, they're both sort of set up in a way where they can keep building for a few years to come. Olympiacos will hit age issues sooner than Pau based on the current rosters, but not a whole lot sooner. And right now, I'm kind of going, yeah, no. But at the same time, this is a very, very, very important Final Four for Olympiacos, because like this, obviously the big anniversary thing and all that, but that they've done pretty much all that was potentially possible to do to upgrade this roster, to upgrade the situation, getting that first seed, defeating Real Madrid in the playoffs, very much, getting rid of that ghost. Much like the one time Jimmy White beat Stephen Hendry in the World Championship of Snooker. Look up Jimmy White. His World Championship story is very, very sad. And yeah, it's a case of, I think they're ready. So yeah, They've got to fundamentally stick to who they are, work out when to go with who, and let the scars they have inspire rather than instill fear in them. And if they can do that, they are as capable as anyone winning this Final Four. Like, I do have them as the extremely prohibitive favourites going into Abu Dhabi. I'm not making my pick yet, but I am going very simply with as they finish in the regular season in terms of... Actually, no, I am switching Pau and Fenerbahce right now. I am going Oli, Pau, Fener, Monaco in terms of my 1 to 4 ranking right now, which, by the way, I'm recording on Tuesday, even though it's coming out on Wednesday. And while I am saying that, at the exact same time, if you saw my Monaco video yesterday, which you should watch, this to me is the closest foursome ever in the Final Four. Like, we've got in the Final Fours where 2 teams looked like they were the best. They might even have been on the same side of the draw in the semi-finals. We've got into situations where there was 3 teams you couldn't choose between. I don't think we've ever gone into one where we went all 4 looked as capable as each other. Now, that said, like, quite often, not quite often, but enough times, a team that was the 4th most likely going into a Final Four still ended up winning it. 2014 rings a very strong bell there. But at the same time, yeah, I think there's real potential here. So this, I'm extremely excited for Abu Dhabi. We are doing so much coverage between now and Abu Dhabi, and of course, when I'm on the ground in Abu Dhabi, we are really looking forward to meeting some of you, hopefully there. But for all of you following us along through this journey, it means so much to me. There's more videos coming up. Like, there's 7 in total in our build-up, and that's before we do a single player interview on site. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, ring the bell, comment, like, share. I don't know, ask your whoever your community leader is to tell people about BallinEurope. I'm joking on that last one. But yeah, it's been great talking to you today, and you know what? I will see you soon.